Here we go. Welcome, Average Joe Nation from around the globe. Props to you for staying up to date and keeping in the know. With fantasy football, man, very soon you'll reign. The knowledge that these three guys have, man, it is insane. Yeah, fantasy football talk hateful eight, they wear the crown. Hold it down. Pickle, Blackburn, and Trimboli, hold it down. Pulling up to the recording studio, we're getting loud. Getting ready, headphones on, red light go, break it down.
Welcome back to the Hateful Eight Fantasy Football Podcast with your host. I'm Pickle, and with me as always, oh wait, Blackburn is not in today.
Yep, he's away for this show.
He's away for the show.
He'll be back next week.
But Trimboli's here with me today.
I'm always here. That's a stretch.
Oh man. So anyway, today's main show.
We can make it if we try. Sorry.
No, you're fine. So we've got 3 weeks essentially left. September 5th is the official kickoff.
Then real games start.
Yes, for the real games. So, so this week is week 2 of the preseason, which is literally what is it? I guess they could say it's the week before really it matters.
Yeah.
The first week is kind of like the guys that are really on the edge of even making the preseason roster. This week is the guys that are going to be decided if they're going to make it to the cut of the 90-man, 70-something between there. And then after next week is the 53 really gets closer down to the 53-man roster. But
that's how week 3 in the preseason, you need to look how guys are being utilized. That's how they're going to be utilized when the season starts. So if you're getting high volume in preseason week 3 or early looks, then you know that guy is going to be highly utilized in that offense.
Right. So you probably won't see a lot of veterans unless they're veteran backups. You really won't see a whole lot of veterans. You'll see more so the rookies and guys vying for jobs in general on a roster. So, but to me, I was just looking at some of the things. The Redskins and Bengals are I think is a good one to watch this week.
Yeah.
It kind of gives some of the Bengal younger players more so, but for this quarterback situation in Washington, because I think everyone just thinks that it's going to be Dwayne Haskins' job or it's going to be just Keenum's job and kind of ruled out Colt McCoy. Now, McCoy's not playing, obviously. He has been ruled out for this week, but I think that Keenum has the job, but I think it's a matter of, at least from Gruden's perspective, is how quickly that how quickly Haskins can pick up the offense. So if Haskins struggles, then they already know they got Keenum who can run the offense fine. But I think the Redskins offense, the biggest question mark is going to be the wide receivers.
Absolutely.
And that's the biggest issue for this fantasy purposes. So, but today's show, we're going to be talking about quarterbacks, top 12 consensus, and then the tight ends. We're going to kind of do a combo meal, kind of like when you go to your favorite fast food joint. To buy one, get one free. So
tight ends were interesting when I looked over the consensus rankings. They're all over the place because really after the top 3, it's the narrative you want to write or what you believe in. So
right. So, but you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're on YouTube as well. And then for the local Dayton viewers, we're on DATV, 10:30 p.m. Fridays, and then 4 p.m. on Sundays. So. Well, let's go ahead and get into the main first segment today. Let's go ahead and get into fantasy news and notes.
Fantasy news and notes.
All right, fantasy news and notes presented by Sleeper, the one-stop shop fantasy app that you need to get, light years ahead of everything else.
Yeah.
And I feel like now that Sleeper's been doing all this stuff over the last 2 years and making such big progress, now some of these bigger fantasy apps, which I won't mention their names, but the major platforms that you all hear about are all of a sudden quickly starting to adjust logos, smoothness of the apps, adding more features, adding mock draft features. And, for the longest time, there's a major platform that starts with 3 letters that is very similar to the league that everybody plays in. They just recently added mock drafts to their app after years of not. So,
well, Sleeper has already nailed the mobile app, and that's why they're above and beyond better than everyone else.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Because everyone's now on their phone. So
yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the news. Chris Carson to be the clear-cut Seattle running back 1 in 2019.
This guy's happy right here.
I know.
Listen, I'm not going to lie to you. A little preview. You might see him in my bold predictions.
True. I was going to say the biggest thing to me from everything I read within this from the local beat writers talking to the team is, like team representatives, just says that they are essentially, how do I put this? Carson and Penny will share the backfield, but it's not going to be a running back by committee. It's going to be more of a 70-30. For best case, if you're a Rashad Penny owner, you're looking for a 60-40 at this point, but it sounds like it's more of a 70-30.
Right. Well, and even if they share it, even 60-40, they ran the ball the most rushing attempts in the league. Carson can still get over 220, 250 attempts.
Right.
That's a lot of attempts for one guy. I love Carson this year, and this is even making him trend higher for me.
Yeah. All right. Now, Kenyon Drake is spotted in a walking boot. Apparently, no, it would be 2 days ago. He got tweaked something in his foot, whether it was an ankle or a foot issue, and then came out yesterday in a walking boot. And the Bellagio Hotel was open for business all day. I mean, we thought last year he was going to be the guy that might break through and take over because there was just no favoritism for any of the running backs in that backfield with Gase. But now that you've got Kenyon Drake was supposed to be the guy. I mean, it's not like they really wanted him to be the guy. And if he's got any type of, if it's a high ankle sprain, if it's a foot issue, if it's a toe issue, I mean, this could be something simple as it's a few weeks to this could be a lingering issue where it's literally on and off all season, and it's pretty much a pain tolerance.
Listen, already in a questionable backfield to begin with, this whole offense, I wouldn't take a chance. Drake now is really starting to slip. You wanted him to be the guy, have all the volume, given the chance.
Right.
Well, that narrative's just gone. That storyline's gone. Bellagio is going to be heavily utilized. They're going to have to split it 50-50 now, at least. And I tell you what, Bellagio is trending upward in that offense. So for me, you can get him later. That's the guy I would probably go after.
I was going to say, to me, I mean, and this is what I said last year, Bellagio just, to me, reminded me a lot of an Eddie George type runner, and Adrian Peterson. He's a physical, tall, upright runner. He's not going to try to get low. He's not going to try to shift in and out of the holes in the line. He's going to either run over you or run around you.
Right.
He's not going to try to juke you out of your shoes or make any of these cut moves and go. It's, if you're in my way, I'm running you over. So, and that's what we've seen in the preseason, and in every practice, he has been talked up, even with Drake being healthy. And that was kind of my concern. I'm watching the trending, and then this comes out, and I'm like, Bellagio's already been doing great. This lowers it, and I think it's going to be probably a 50-50, and it may end up being, depending on how healthy Drake is throughout the season, this may end up being a 60-40 Bellagio.
Right.
So, to me, for all of you that drafted early and took Kenyon Drake, I'm sorry. Fingers crossed.
You did not know this. We didn't know this was going to be the situation, so it was early. But I'll tell you what, also look at the quarterback situation. If Fitzpatrick looks like he's going to be the starter week one and maybe for the whole season, that really hinders the running back position. We saw it in Tampa Bay. Peyton Barber was non-existent basically when Fitzpatrick was in.
True.
Winston was in. Peyton Barber became a very valuable asset that week. So there's a lot of concerns going in with this whole backfield now.
Right. Well, Fitzpatrick's pretty much the prototypical gunslinger, as they say. He just lets it fly. He does not care about
the deep ball guy. He loves them.
I don't care about my running back. And until last year, until he got O.J. Howard as a tight end, he really didn't care about the tight end position either. So, all right, so this one's another concerning one. Andrew Luck dealing with a, in quote, high ankle issue. I think it's been pretty well media kept on the outside, and then Jim Irsay may have had a few too many and showed up on a radio show.
Oops.
And spilled guts about something that probably should have stayed under the wraps a little bit longer.
Well, listen, I appreciate whatever adult beverage he had that night or whatever he was doing because I want the info because this really did change. You'll see it in my rankings. This hinders Luck. It was a calf strain that has now come into a high ankle issue. That's not good.
Well, I will tell you, initially, I had Luck as a 3. I have moved him back a couple spots because of this, and I haven't completely taken the floor out from him just yet, but...
Well, no, yeah. These guys they're all grouped together. There's a big group of guys that are grouped together. I've now put him on the bottom end of that group.
Right.
Just because I'm afraid he's going to miss games.
Right. All right, and then as you can see on the zoomed out angle, the wall, I put it behind you just for fun, but
gotcha.
Dak Prescott turns down $30 million deal.
Oof.
Comes out, surfaces that apparently he wants a $40 million deal. I think, and from what I've understood, and it sounds like from like the back, I want to say like behind closed doors kind of media perspective is, Dak's people threw out that they turned down a $30 million contract to try to make the Cowboys and Jerry Jones look like cheap. I don't want to say cheapskates, but look like they were trying to get a real hometown discount. On the flip side, somebody within Dallas PR side, I'm sure, then released that Dak was wanting $40 million, which then counters and basically makes it a wash because then everybody's like, oh, Dak's an idiot for wanting $40 million. So now I think the dollar amount's going to be somewhere probably in that 32 to 35 range, and Dallas will come out now looking good because, well, we offered him 30. Maybe it was a little low. He wanted 40. We ended up getting him at 32, 33. We call it a win.
Yeah.
If Dallas gets him at 35 or less, they win.
Listen, I know I'm not in favor of paying Dak this much money, but it's the going rate for a quarterback right now. It's whether you're going to pay it or not.
Right.
And I don't listen, his people and what they're doing, I don't blame them one bit.
No.
Why take a discount if you don't need to, especially for a guy that is a question mark whether or not he's going to stay at this level.
Right. Well, my biggest thing, and as everyone probably knows who's watched the show over the last couple of years, is I'm a Dallas fan, and I will tell you, if Dak goes on the open market, Dak ain't getting $35 million for a year. Dak's gonna be hoping he gets that $30 million from Jerry Jones, because he won't get picked up by anybody for that high. I mean, you think about it. Nick Foles, what, 22, $23 million, won a Super Bowl, has successfully been good there in Philadelphia. Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you name some of these guys. The only person unfortunately for Dallas, they pulled the trigger too late because Carson Wentz got a serious contract, and Carson Wentz has been injury prone on and off the last 2 years. So Dallas missed the bus and should have tried to push that $30 million before Carson Wentz signed his.
You know what? I was listening. I think it was Clay Travis the other day. Interesting point he made out here. These contracts look big right now, but these guys that are getting these long-term extensions done now at the quarterback ranges, in the high 20s, maybe even low 30s, and a couple of years from now, that's going to look like a discounted price when they're still operating on that contract.
Right.
So you might need to invest in it now, look at the future, but in Dallas, the problem is, are you going to be able to pay all three?
Right. Plus, you've got a couple defensive guys that are going to be coming down the pipe next couple of years.
Yep.
So
listen, I think Zeke's a big part of this offense, but it's either him or Cooper. One of them, I think, are going to be outside looking in. I think Dak's going to get paid.
Oh, I think Dak's going to be the one that gets paid. I think it's just a matter of if they can get it closer to the $30 million rather than 40.
So you got Dak on. Zeke or Coop? Just gut feeling, I mean.
I think as history has proved itself, I think Jerry Jones is going to find a way to pay them, whether it's, I don't want to say illegally or legally, but Jerry Jones will find a way to put money in their pockets to make it come out right.
They're saying Jerry's going to work on the mob side of it. I know
well,
those things
I'm
operate.
just saying Jerry might make a donation to a foundation or something to help him out. I'm just saying it would not put it past me, but he's going to get it all done. It's just a matter of everybody, Tony Romo to everybody who's ever been down said they're going to get it done. It's just figuring out the financial numbers. But the problem is I have a feeling they're going to have too much locked up in this offense, and this defense is basically you've got the best part of the defense that's youth-wise locked up for the next probably 2 years before they're going to want to come knocking on the door for a pay raise. So you've got about a year or two pay window to get a championship, Super Bowl under your belt. Because if you don't, then that window closes, and ask the Cincinnati Bengals how that went.
Well, that's what I was going to say. They need to pitch a legacy here. What's your legacy going to be? If it's just money, then go get your money. But if you're looking for Super Bowls, this team has a chance, and its window, you're right, is right now open.
Right. So, all right. And then I got this. Hold on.
Everybody's going to pay. Because the $1 Million Man always gets his way.
Oh, man. All right, so the running back holdouts, any changes between Zeke still in Cabo?
Yeah.
Melvin Gordon's somewhere. No, I mean, he's kind of fallen to the wayside. I don't think it's really being talked about too much about him because he's not Zeke. And it's not a dig at him. He's still a good running back. I just think that the biggest concern is they all know that the offense runs through Zeke. Anybody who's got even one eye can see that Dallas offense is Zeke's offense.
Well, Gordon doesn't really operate too much in the limelight or
in
the social media game. And so that's why this season it was a little,
surprise.
Yeah.
But
it's not good on his situation, though.
No. Okay, so if we're sitting at the draft today and
just put a tweet out for this.
Oh, you did? Okay. So at this point, are you still drafting, what is it? I think Melvin Gordon's ADP is what? Second round now?
Yeah.
So middle of the second round, or Zeke, who's still holding to a middle to 3/4 of the way through the first round? Who are you pulling?
I'm pulling that Zeke's going to get signed. So I'm pulling Zeke. Melvin Gordon, I'm scared he's going to miss games.
Right. So, alrighty. So that's all we got for the news and notes. Let's get into the consensus top 12 quarterbacks and tight ends.
Rankings. Quarterback. Tight ends.
All right, quarterbacks and tight ends presented by Trophy Smack. 1,000 different unique fantasy combinations for your trophy. They also have rings, belts, and the fantasy draft boards this year. So
yeah,
everything's free shipping. And if you do end up buying a trophy, you can use the promo code TH8FF ring. It's all one word, all caps, and you'll get a free ring with the purchase of a trophy. I mean,
listen,
that's something that they've nicely done for you guys, the listeners.
New season has started. Get yourself a new trophy. Get that free ring. Go get yourself a draft board.
Right.
Just go to Trophy Smack.
Complete it all. So, all right. So we won't really go too far into like in depth on all the different players as much as we're going to kind of go through like the biggest discrepancies in quarterbacks and tight ends. But we'll at least go through the list right now. So the top 12 for us quarterbacks wise is in this order: Mahomes, Watson at 2, Rodgers at 3, Luck at 4, Ryan at 5, Wentz at 6, Goff at 7, Mayfield at 8, Breeze at 9, Wilson at 10, Murray at 11, and 12 is Cam Newton. So really 1 and 2 was pretty well across the board. Everybody agrees they're 1 and 2, Mahomes and Watson. So
right. I mean, you can't go away from Mahomes. I don't know if I'm paying that ADP price though, or the draft price right now. But
right.
So wait, I got a question with Watson. Do you think he has a chance to contend with Mahomes, maybe for the number 1 spot this year? With his ability, I mean, his touchdowns have increased.
Man, I don't know. I just feel like Mahomes is his X factor is the fact that he has Tyreek Hill, and yes, Watson has Hopkins, and this is what we've talked about before: is would you rather take the stack of Mahomes and Hill or Watson and Hopkins at their current ADP? Well, if you even take the ADP out of the thing, I think you're kind of coming out in a wash because I think Mahomes is going to do enough more than Watson, but I think Hopkins is going to do more than Hill. So it ends up being kind of a wash.
Right.
Do you want a high-scoring, high-potent quarterback with a top 5 wide receiver, or do you want a top 3 to 4 quarterback with a top 1 wide receiver? So
I get what you're saying.
I don't know. I just feel like to me, but if I'm going to take them at their ADP, it's going to be Watson and Hopkins because Hill's going to be he's creeping into that first round ADP, and Mahomes is pretty much a second, if you're lucky, a third round quarterback at this point.
Oof.
So
that return on value, I mean, he's got to have 50 touchdowns to get there again.
And the thing is, as long as Hill is there, I think he's okay. My concern is out of the two, Watson, unless there's an injury.
Yeah,
Watson in that Texans offense does not have any question marks. They actually upgraded by bringing in Duke Johnson.
Absolutely.
I think that's a help to Watson. So
get Kiki QT healthy again.
They've got everything across the board, I think, finally. And the division is not the strongest division.
So you're still strong. I mean, that's my thought was, I know Mahomes is by far number 1, but Watson still has a chance to at least compete to be a strong QB2 this year. Okay.
Rodgers, 3s and 4s for us across the board. Then Luck, this is the one that we kind of see the difference. Blackburn still has him at 3, and I think Blackburn is hoping that he's fine and good to go.
Yeah, I think the injury concern for him is not that high.
So then you go to me, who's in the middle at 5, and I had actually had him at 3, like I said, and I bumped him down 2 spots after this news, and I'm playing safe still. I don't think that he's completely lost any type of value or whatever, but I also don't think that we're going to have any issues in that sense with him. So, but you're worried about him at 8, so you've really been concerned.
My concern is there's potential to miss games, or if they're up with his injury concern, is he going to have to come out of games?
Yeah.
So I'm afraid he's not going to be in. When we're talking about a potential top 5 guy, I want him in for every rep possible.
Right.
And so that's my concern right now with Luck, and that's why I dropped him out. So the guys that I have around him, it's not that I think Luck's bad by any means by dropping him to 8. I just have higher hopes, or I think the potential for these other guys are a little better.
Right. All right. So then when we come down to the next couple of lists, the next big discrepancy is Baker Mayfield. I've got him at 4. Then you're a little bit farther behind me at 6, and Blackburn is in at 12. But I think Blackburn, and if you've listened to the show all off season, he's not buying the hype yet.
Right.
And he may not buy the hype. So I think that's his biggest thing is, and he would tell you, it's not that he thinks that Mayfield is awful or trash, or as he would say, hot garbage. It's more so in the concept that he just thinks there's a lot more stable offenses and stable quarterback play ahead of him.
Yeah, I think he's buying into the narrative that there's a lot of personalities there, and if that doesn't all clash or come together, it could be a train wreck. And
right.
I could see that. Baker Mayfield's range of possibilities are all over the place. I see on the safer side. I love the talent around him. I think he's going to take that next step. I think he's going to easily be a top 5.
Yeah, well, I went all in on the Baker Mayfield hype,
right.
and that's fine with me. I'll go down with that ship if I have to. So
we see that.
Now, right. And then the next big discrepancy is Kyler Murray. So I've got him at 9, so I've got him inside the top 10. You've got him right on the outside of the QB1, so at 12, so right on that cusp. And Blackburn's got him at 16. And I think Blackburn, as you would say, like as he's pointed out as well, and he's not here obviously to say it, but he's concerned about the offense in general.
Which is
fine.
Valid point.
I just think that they're going to be playing, and more I've looked at it, Cliff Kingsbury is going to have 5 wide, 4 wide, and a running back, and whatever the case may be. They're going to be spread offense. If you've looked at any of the practices, if you looked in the games, they're going to do a zone blocking scheme, and they're going to create lanes. They're literally going to, the guys are going to create holes at the line in case Kyler Murray has to run. And I think that's going to be the extra factor for him is the run availability. I think he can throw. To me, he's already ahead of Lamar Jackson coming in.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he can run. He's smart. He's not going to just take a hit for no reason. And he can throw the ball. He can let it rip. If you watched any of his games at Oklahoma, yes, they play trash defenses in the Big 12, but if you're looking from a general mechanics and arm strength, the kid is a baseball player as well, so he has arm strength.
Absolutely.
And I'm just saying, vision-wise, when you're looking, yeah, there's going to be games where he's probably going to be outside the top 12 quarterback-wise when he has a struggling week against a bad or a good defense. But in the big grand scheme of things, let's see. No, sorry. It's just Odell's hip injury. He's fine. Anyways.
And we're back.
So I just think that the offense, yes, although there's a lot of question marks, they brought in a lot of young wide receivers. They do still have Larry Fitzgerald. Christian Kirk, I think, is going to be fine. The
Absolutely.
big thing, X factor, I think, is David Johnson. Can they get David Johnson involved? If they can get David Johnson involved in the run game, pass game, dump downs, whatever, I think Kyler Murray will be successful.
I think David Johnson is fine. I think he's going to be highly utilized. I think he's going to be easy 5 this year, in my opinion. But Kyler Murray, his comp has got to be Russell Wilson here.
Yeah.
They're similar in size, both baseball background, and he's going to move. He's not going to stay stagnant in that pocket. For that reason, his footwork and his ability to run will make him potential to be a top 10 guy. Now listen, is he going to struggle like all rookies do? Absolutely. I think he's going to throw picks. He's going to fumble a little bit, but you got to take into account his rushing ability.
Right.
That's going to be there. And if he creeps into the mid-20s in touchdowns, which I think is really high for him, he could even go up a little farther in this list. So.
I mean, look at Josh Allen last year. He struggled at the
Good
beginning,
example.
and as the season went, he got better and better and better, and he was actually running and throwing the ball. And his offense was awful. I mean, really bad.
Yeah. Well, think about this.
Even worse than what Kyler Murray's inheriting.
Just remember, in a 4-point touchdown passing league, you get 6 points for running the ball in. So, and that's on the table for Murray.
Right. I like him. I'm buying into him and Mayfield this year.
I think I'm buying in on the second half is you're looking at guys that like the Phillip Rivers, Roethlisbergers that aren't going to run the ball anymore. Their age is creeping up on them.
Right.
So I'm looking for the guys that can run because that is points, and that's what I'm looking at in fantasy-wise. Now, in NFL quarterback-wise, it's not the same. It's not apples to apples.
No. And then the last one for quarterback-wise for us is Cam Newton at 12. Big discrepancy. You've got him the highest at 10, and then Blackburn's got him at 13, and then I come in with 15. Why do you think that he is a top 10 quarterback?
Well, first, he was hurt last year.
Right.
So I think that hindered a lot of his potential. I love the new receivers coming in, or the second-year guys. I love DJ Moore. I think Curtis Samuel's going to have a big role. Greg Olson's back. He's pretty healthy. He's going to have some kind of role. But let's be honest, CMC and Newton have been now together for a few years, and that's a nasty combination.
Oh yeah, I mean that they both can run, they both can do it all.
I think Cam Newton's I think he's underappreciated right now because everyone thinks he's hurt. He's going to come. He's much healthier now than he was last year at any point.
Right.
So also, then I looked him up. Just to give you a little history here. So in 2014, he finished as QB 17.
Okay.
Came back the next year as QB 1.
Okay.
Finished the year in 16 at quarterback 17. Came back in 2017 as QB 2. Last year he was outside the top 10 at 12. History says he's got to be inside that top 10 now.
That is the trend.
So I'm buying into it.
My biggest thing is I want to make sure, because I haven't seen him play. I want to see him in the preseason 3 game. I want to see him, and he may not play. Yeah, and that's the thing. My concern is with quarterbacks or players in general coming off of an injury, and a pretty significant injury, or a repeat injury, I would say, because this is the second time his shoulder's been an issue. Knowing the type of way he plays the quarterback position, if he is not able to run and comfortably throw the ball down the field, which I've seen in practices, but he hasn't been hit yet.
Right.
So what's your body going to do when you get hit after this surgery? So I don't think that he will stay in my top at the quarterback 15. I think he'll eventually move up. I just want to see that we're continuing to trend healthily all offseason to the season, where Andrew Luck, I'm now backing down, and as the stories pile, and Jim Irsay apparently keeps running his mouth and talking out the side of it about
let him keep going.
I'm just saying Andrew Luck is trending down for me, and I could see Cam Newton trending up for me. If things continue the way that they're going.
Yep.
If Andrew Luck's not playing anymore, he's not playing the rest of the preseason. We've already said that. So now you're going to have to draft Andrew Luck, knowing that you may not have him for even week 1, 2, 3. I mean, that's the issue. And how many years ago was it? I think it was 2 years ago. He was fine. He was fine. And then you drafted him, and he didn't play one single game.
Yeah. Or what if he's struggling with injury, and then the week before the bye week, they're like, okay, we either play him conservatively or just sit him.
Right.
Because of that injury, because now he's going to get 2 weeks off to recover. I could see that being a possibility. That's just something I don't want to bet on going that early in the draft.
Yeah, unfortunately at this point, unless I hear positives at some point for Andrew Luck between now and week 1 or before my draft, I'm passing on Andrew Luck because his ADP is too high for me at this point for a guy that you don't know if you're going to have week 1 or not.
Real quick, I want to touch on a guy that I know you're high on this year, and I know the more we talk about him, his ADP and everything could go up, but Jared Goff might be the safest bet at quarterback. We have him at number 7 right now.
Across the board.
But he might be the safest play this year. He's not going to put up – I don't think he's going to have boom weeks. There's potential of it, but I think he's going to be a solid play every week, a guy you're going to get late, potentially in the double-digit rounds. I would love having Jared Goff.
Yeah, to me, I would not be surprised if Jared Goff averages 25 to 27 points by the end – that's his season average.
Yeah.
Seriously, because the offense in general – and here's the thing. Spoiler alert, if Todd Gurley is not doing well, they're going to throw the ball more.
Right.
And that's a quarterback that has no problem in that McVay offense throwing the ball with really good receiving options.
Well, I'll go back to those. So there's 3 good receiving options, and when you're drafting a quarterback late, you will love to get a stack in there just to help you out. And if you can get Goff, you have 3 potential guys you could stack him with.
Oh, yeah.
And technically, if you want to throw in Gurley into the mix, there's 4 guys.
Right, and they're getting these tight ends more involved. Everett and I just drew a blank on the other guy, Higbee. So
how do you draw a blank on Higbee? You love that guy.
I know. Well, Blackburn really is in on that. But I'm just saying, I just think that there's so many options there. And it's kind of like, and it's funny because people are like, well, how can you have Jared Goff in your top 10 but not Kirk Cousins? Kirk Cousins pretty much is the exact same offense that they've got there in L.A. And I'm like, I mean, I see your point that they got Diggs, they got Thielen, they've got Rudolph, they've got Irv Smith Jr., they've got Cook, they've got this Alexander Mattison guy who's the backup. It really is. But the thing is, Jared Goff has proved to me that he does not shy away from big moments. He thrives in big moments. As a Dallas Cowboys fan, the bootleg that he ran for a guy who runs like a giraffe had no problem out there running and making that putting the nail in the coffin. That's to me. Kirk Cousins, I'm sorry. I think you're a great quarterback and good for week-to-week fantasy purposes, but you would have pooped your pants if you saw how that offense, that rollout, you would not have ran. You would have tried to find a throw guy, and you're just as mobile as Jared Goff is. To me, that's the difference why I think Goff will be fine in the same – and if you put Goff in the Minnesota offense, good gosh. Yeah. I think it's almost like a slide to the right transfer. You're still getting the same style offense. I like Jared Goff's confidence level, and I like his swag, as they would say, as a younger guy in the way that he carries himself in this offense.
The blocking scheme, I think, for the Rams is much better than Minnesota.
Yes.
So I like Goff in that offense too.
But I like Goff this year, and I think he's a top 5 potential. I mean, he might even be a top 4 potential, depending on how successful. Let's put it this way: Jared Goff's success to get him in the top 4 talk will be thoroughly on whether or not Todd Gurley is healthy.
Absolutely.
Or if Gurley's not healthy, I would say Darrell Henderson's success. He needs a successful run game to put him in that top 4 talk, because I think that creates the bootlegs, it creates the play action.
Well, don't forget, who's the other back there? I'm drawing blank right now.
Malcolm Brown.
Don't forget about Malcolm Brown. He's been in that offense for a few years now. He's someone still to look at too. But yeah, listen, if those two can hinder the load, if Gurley's out, Goff's going to stay there in that top 10 easily.
So, now here's the big one. Now we'll transition into the tight ends. This is where it kind of got a little bit interesting.
Got dicey.
It did. So, the top 12 for us are Kelce, Ertz, Kittle, Howard, Ingram, Henry, Vance McDonald, Jared Cook, David Njoku, Eric Ebron, Austin Hooper, and coming in at number 12, Mr. Jello Foot himself, Jordan Reed.
Man,
I was like, how did he get in the top 12? But then I see Blackburn's got him in the top 10, right at 9, and we've got him right outside the top 12.
Listen, I love the potential of Reed.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I just don't like the offense. I'm not in favor of any of the quarterbacks right now. So.
Right. All right. So across the board, Travis Kelce, number 1 for all of us. And then I think that's pretty plain and simple. It's just the offense is just too good not to have him number 1. So, and this is where the flip-flop goes. So I've got Ertz at 3, and then you and Blackburn both have him at 2.
Yep.
And then flipping that, Kittle, I have him at 2, and you guys both have him at 3. So I will tell you 1, 2, and 3 really I've seen pretty much unanimous across the board. It's Kelce, and then in some fashion it's either Ertz or Kittle.
Right. Listen, I'm okay with you making an argument for any one of these guys being number 1 either.
Right.
So, but if you want to know why I just like Ertz better than Kittle, it's because Kittle last year was the guy. Was the only guy. So I want to see what he's like when he's not the only guy. Now, I get it now. They're starting to shuffle wide receivers, so maybe the confidence level is not there for all the wide receivers, so that means Kittle is going to be a great play again. But this year, I just want to see him. Where Ertz has been there. We know what he is. For me, he's an easy, comfortable number 2.
Right. And I will tell you, this is the next 3 that we talk about, Howard, Ingram, and Henry. Those guys are the next 3 tight ends that seem to go in consensus drafting-wise.
Yep.
So, Howard, both myself and Blackburn have him at 4. You have him at 6. It's not a big discrepancy, so I'm just guessing you just feel more confident about the next guy, Evan Ingram, a little bit better.
Right. Yeah, and it's a little bit of Winston too. You got to live and die by Winston.
Holy cow! You put Vance McDonald in the top 5. I did not see that till just now.
Yes.
All right. So really,
we'll get there.
The discrepancy 6 and 7. I've got him at 6, Hunter Henry, and then Blackburn and you both have him at 7. So it's not really a big jump. Now here's the jump from Vance McDonald, and here's the thing: Blackburn has been on myself. Primarily, Blackburn has been high on Vance McDonald, and he has him at 8. You, who have been late somewhat to the party,
just haven't spoke as much. Well, so here's the thing. So for me, it's Evan Ingram's all about volume. That's why he's up at 4.
Right.
Now we have just question marks.
True.
Okay. So it's O.J. Howard for me is what's Winston going to do there, but also Vance McDonald. There's a lot of targets that went away when Antonio Brown left.
Yep.
I think Connor's going to be utilized a ton, but they can't put all the weight on him. I think Vance has got to pick up his game. I think they're going to try to get him heavily involved in the red zone. He's going to be a steal, and that's why I have him this high. I just like the potential in the offense he's in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against Vance McDonald. I like Vance McDonald. I mean, we've all talked how highly we would love him to be our tight end 1 on our rosters. I just, to put him ahead of guys like, let's see. So you got him ahead of O.J. Howard. You got him ahead of Hunter Henry.
Which Hunter Henry, do you know what you're getting right now? He's coming off injury, an offense that doesn't have Melvin Gordon. That whole offense for me is starting to trend down now.
I guess my thing is where I put Hunter Henry is because you don't know what you're getting with Melvin Gordon, and then that creates a red zone opportunity and a lot of short yardage because I don't think they're confident in Eckler or Justin Jackson.
Right, but you got to get there. That's the thing. So if that offense is stagnant or slow to go, and I think, Pittsburgh, we've seen their offense, what it changed. We lost Antonio Brown. Yes. I think Washington and Moncrief are going to try to fill that role as best they can. And then I just think the scoring opportunity and the division they play in helps the Steelers.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Vance McDonald, I don't think being top 5 is out of the question. I'm not like.
Should I make it bold? Should I make that a bold prediction?
Well, I think
for me, it's a tight end. That's why I'm not.
If it's bold, to me, bold would put him somewhere in that top 3.
Yeah,
that's a bold spot.
That's what I thought.
I mean, I think if we're looking at like wing sauce right now, you're at about a medium. You're not at hot yet. Putting him at 5's got him at about a medium. We've got him at mild.
I'm not even sweating.
No, not yet. But I'm just saying, if you put him in that 4-3, you're sitting at hot. If you put him in that 1-2, you may like need to sign a waiver because the wing sauce is too hot.
I'm gonna put him at 1.
So, anyways, but I don't think that it's out of the question for Vance McDonald to be a top 5 tight end. Honestly, it's all success on James Washington and Dante Moncrief's.
Right.
If we see them pick up the pay, and even if they split Antonio Brown's targets, then it's still, I think, a 3-way split between him, Moncrief, and Washington still puts Vance McDonald more than what he had last year, and we liked him a lot last year.
Right.
So
my question is, so 4 through, let's just put 8 in this mix.
Okay.
Do you have them separated by a lot?
Oh, no.
So I guess that's
from Howard
my
to
narrative or my
Jared Cook.
picture.
I think there's a total of maybe 12 points.
So that's I guess so now it's preference. So for me, I just prefer the opportunity to advance. That's why I got him at 5. It doesn't necessarily mean that's where he's gonna finish, or even at the end. I might even change my rankings where he doesn't think he's finishing. But right now, when you stat him out, that's where I've got him. Right,
and I understand that. So then we go into the next group: Njoku, Ebron, Hooper, and Reed. So Njoku is, I think he's a wild card. It's because it depends on how successful the Browns offense really is, and he is probably one of the low man on the totem pole in the receiving options. Duke Johnson's gone, so in theory that does open up something.
Helps a little bit.
But when you're competing against guys like Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham,
which by the way,
even Higgins, who's getting into there.
Well, and Odell Beckham has been a red zone monster. Jarvis Landry has shown flashes. He's big in the red zone. And then you have Chubb, who they can ground and pound with him. Where does that leave Njoku?
That's my concern with him. I mean, I have him at 9, and that's only because I think that it's more so not a positive for him as much as a positive for the offense. I think the offense is going to be really good, and I'm banking on the Browns' offense putting a lot of points on the board, and it's got to go to somebody outside of Odell, Jarvis, and Chubb at some point.
Right. I agree.
So I think Njoku's not going to be a PPR monster. He's not going to get a lot of receptions. I don't believe he's going to get a ton of yards now, unless he's doing a lot of yards after the catch. I think his buying point is because you expect a lot of touchdowns to be thrown in that offense.
And this could be the starting point of what a plug-and-play guy is for tight ends. It's a week-to-week play. I hate to say that about Njoku because he's got the potential to be great, but like you just said, there's too many options there, especially in the red zone. Normally you want that tight end to have that carved-out role there.
Yeah.
And it's not there.
Right. And now going into Eric Ebron, the reason why I have him at 10, now Blackburn's got him at 13, and I think Blackburn is worried about Jack Doyle and how involved he's going to be.
And actually, I share that same concern.
Now, I've got Jack Doyle, I think, at 12 or 13 myself still.
I think I dropped Doyle a little bit more. Really, it's luck, too. Luck's not there. I'm dropping them all.
I had Ebron in my right around 8, but I've seen the success of Jared Cook. I've seen a lot of talk of Vance McDonald. I've seen a lot of talk of David Njoku and that offense, and that kind of bumps Ebron down. You have to move him, slide him down. It's not because you don't think he's good, because he had a great year last year, but
heavily touchdown dependent though.
But there was really no Jack Doyle for a lot of the season, and the thing is, Andrew Luck was healthy, and my concern is if Andrew Luck's not healthy or Andrew Luck's not playing, I think that Jacoby Brissett's going to put the ball in a lot of other team jerseys' hands.
You know, when you're looking at Ebron this year, the guy that I actually would focus on, I know we talked about Doyle. Look what they're doing with Marlon Mack. If they give him the full keys to the car, full run of the show, and they let him operate in that red zone the way they think he can, I'm going to start trending down on Ebron because that's where he lives and dies, at red zone.
Right.
But if they give it to Mack, that's not good. So first couple games, I'd definitely be looking at that.
All right. So then we go into 11. And Austin Hooper. Now, I've got you. Blackburn's got him the highest. Well, you and Blackburn really are pretty close at 10 and 11. I've got him at 14. At least for me, 14 is because I still want to see. I've not heard a lot about him. I'm high on him because I think he's a good tight end. I just think there's a lot in the same concept as the Falcons and Browns offense, and there's just a lot of mouths to feed. And Matt Ryan likes to spread the ball around to people. I mean, even he spreads the ball around to the wide receivers. I mean, he focuses and obviously tons more to Julio, but you've got a healthy Calvin Ridley. You've got Devonta Freeman's healthy, who can catch out of the backfield. Mohamed Sanu. I mean, you've got a lot of options in that offense.
Mine's just tagging along to what I think is going to be a good offense.
Yeah.
So that's why I like Hooper there. But listen, I'm not going to lie to you. There's going to be weeks where you're going to be like, did Hooper even play? Because his stat line's going to be that low. It's going to be there. It's going to be up and down. You're going to live and die by that. But really, after those top 3 guys, you're going to have question marks across the board.
Yeah,
you got to find out who you like more.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I just feel like with Hooper, we're rolling the dice on hoping that he's more frequently a top 10 tight end than he is a top 14 tight end.
True, but then I guess that's the narrative you could say about everyone else, Ref.
True.
You know what I mean? So it's like at the end of you're looking at the end of the week stuff. Consistency, he's not going to be there. He's just not going to be there every week.
All right. Now let's see. What do we got here? We've got Jordan Reed is the final one. The final one. I mean, I know Blackburn is a Redskins fan, and he's got him at 9.
I think he's looking at the
health and
the talent of the player. He's a great talent. He's awesome. It's whether or not he can stay healthy, and whether or not that offense can move the ball down the field.
Right, and I think that's for everybody with Jordan Reed is, can he be a top 12 tight end? Yeah, he could be a top 10 tight end every week that he's healthy. The problem is, and especially now more so because that offense in the Redskins passing game, there's really not a dominant wide receiver one. So Jordan Reed could be essentially the wide receiver one. He could be this year. He could be a Kittle for that offense because they really don't have a good wide receiver one, and there's a struggling quarterback situation. And we all say when a quarterback is young or the offense isn't really good, the quarterback relies on 2 things, the tight end and the run game.
Yep.
And Washington has a run game with Adrian Peterson and maybe Geis, but they really don't have a throwing option outside of Reed. I mean, yeah, McLaurin's there, but he's a rookie, and he's probably going to have his ups and downs as well. So,
right.
I don't know. I just think that, to me, Jordan Reed, if he plays 16 games, is a top 12 tight end.
Absolutely.
However, that's the asterisk with the disclaimer, may not play 16 games. So,
well, no, it will not play 16 games.
So, I've got him probably at his floor at 16. Could he finish, even if he plays, we'll say 12 games, I say that we're looking at probably tight end 13, 14.
Yeah, I can get on board with that.
So
I'm going to throw out a couple other names just to see what your opinion is on them. What about Delaney Walker in Tennessee?
I like him more if he's ready to go week 1. There's not really been a whole lot of positive
fair point. That's really good. So you're on board with it. Again, it could be a struggling offense. We just said that it's going to rely heavily probably on the run game and tight end.
Yeah.
Then another one. What about Mark Andrews in Baltimore? He's trending heavily high for me.
I like him as a late tight end, like a last pick type thing, around 14, 15 type thing, but I just am concerned what this offense really is going to do. Now, I think that he's going to probably be the biggest beneficiary out of this offense in the passing game specifically, because we all know Lamar Jackson is a struggling throwing quarterback, and I use throwing quarterback lightly. So I just think that he's going to run the ball a lot. I think Ingram's going to take a lot of run, ground and pound, and I think when they need these short yardage goal lines, I think that he could be a beneficiary in the concept of bootlegs and play actions and things like that.
So that leads me to the comp. I'm not making Lamar Jackson a Tyrod Taylor comp here. But what I'm saying is that bootleg action you just said, that worked very well in Buffalo.
Right.
And him and just drew blank. Clay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Charles Clay was relevant because of Tyrod Taylor.
That's why I think Andrews is going to be relevant here.
Right.
That's why I think the trending is positive. I think in PPR he could get peppered with targets and volume. Now it's whether or not he gets in the end zone.
Right. So. I think for me, the ceiling for Mark Andrews is probably tight end 11. I think that's a comfortable. I think that's a ceiling.
That's good.
But a floor for me is anywhere from tight end 16 to tight end 20, and it all depends on that offense and how, like you said, touchdowns. If he's not getting the touchdowns, he's nobody.
Fair enough.
And I just don't know how many touchdowns the passing game is going to create for Baltimore.
Right.
So,
any love for Jimmy Graham or Eifert?
Eifert is kind of in that.
Eifert's just, I think he's a dart throw where you throw and you hope it hits. But I'm not really relying on him.
No. Now, Jordan, you said Jimmy Graham. I need to see what this offense with Aaron Rodgers looks like. So maybe preseason 3, but I think that Matt LaFleur can do what do you want to call it? I think he can, if he can get Jimmy Graham involved, I think Jimmy Graham's still good enough to be a touchdown-dependent tight end, but it still goes back to the concept of we don't know what that offense is going to look like with Matt LaFleur.
Right.
It's a question mark for the player because he's slacked.
I mean, he can't run.
Well, no, and he struggles typically in first years in new offenses. Well,
yeah, good point. That's a good
so
point.
You know, there's a new offense in Green Bay. He's on the same team.
News alert.
He's wearing the same jersey. However, the offense is different. So I don't know. The rapport there is though he does have with Rodgers, but
well, listen, I think I have him ranked right at 20 maybe or even lower. I'm not.
Yeah.
Jimmy Graham's like not even on my radar right now.
No.
But I was just curious to see what your opinion was on him.
Trying to think quarterbacks because there was a couple quarterbacks that I was going to mention that weren't on this list that I did. I have Dak Prescott at 14, and a lot of it is because I had him in the top 12 earlier in the offseason. However, with the news of Zeke, and if Zeke's not there, yeah, you can praise Tony Pollard, no shade to him, but Tony Pollard is not Ezekiel Elliott, and the defenses aren't going to fear your run game like they do. Ezekiel Elliott is the key to that offense. He's how do I put this? He is the engine to that car.
Right.
So, and Dak is the driver, and
sometimes he drives blindfolded there.
He does, and then Amari Cooper has sat in the back seat like driving Miss Daisy. So he's just waiting for his contract, so he can he's basically hopping in the car and just waiting until somebody gets him to the Super Bowl. That's his goal.
Onward, Jeeves.
Right. So I'm just saying, it's just for me. I just think Dak Prescott right now, I can't put him higher than 14 because of there's too many question marks in the offense. If they can get Amari signed, I think I can bump him up probably to 12. But if Zeke's not in there, I don't think I can put him. I think I'm going to have a hard time pushing him to top 12.
I agree.
So
if you draft 2 quarterbacks or in a 2-quarterback league, he's a safe quarterback too.
Yeah,
he really is. His range of possibilities are right at 10 for me.
Right.
But could be always down a little lower than
he could be
15,
1 week,
16, or 17.
I think his ceiling is top 8 weekly, and I think his floor is like top 15.
Yeah.
So, and that's Dak Prescott. Now, if Zeke and Amari are in there in that offense, I think Dak is a top 10 quarterback. It's just there's no way you can keep him out of the top 10 because there's just so many opportunities for him to run the ball with his legs and score as well as touchdowns.
Absolutely. All right. Since we're still in this quarterback trend, Winston, I know you're high on him. He didn't make our top 12. What happened? Why didn't you make that happen?
He's well. Where do I have? Let's see. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think he is my 12.
Okay, because I got him at 13.
Okay, so I think Blackburn had him at like 17 or something like that. So I think that's where we had the reasoning for the flip side. So I think he's a top 12 quarterback.
I do too.
And Chris Godwin has just been destroying it to the point that I don't think I'm going to get very many shares of him in my drafts or a draft in general because I think he's going to go before I get him. He's still, to me, yes, he's a wide receiver 2 with some potentially a wide receiver 1 like ceiling on a week-to-week basis, but I can't draft him higher than round 5. I don't blame you. It's hard for me to say draft in round 3 or 4, and I've seen him go as high as round 4, and I'm just like, in the beginning of the 4th round, not the end.
Well, that's the thing. Some guys are looking at it, especially if they take 2 running backs right away.
Yeah.
That wide receiver pool then becomes the tiers start to break a little bit, and I get Chris Godwin's got huge upside. I understand why you might pull the trigger a little early. Then you're like, listen, I'd love to get guys at their ADP or even later, but we know how that operates and works.
Right. Now I will tell you, Mike Evans, a lot of people are sleeping on him because it's all Godwin, it's all Godwin, it's all Godwin. I'm telling you right now, Mike Evans could be a top 3 wide receiver by end of year, and I wouldn't even blink an eye about it.
See, with me and Mike Evans is he can disappear games. And that's at the end of the year. Listen, he's going to have a top 10 ranking. Fantastic. We can put that on the wall. It's a great little star you can have. But
sticker on the fridge.
I want a week-to-week play guy, and that's why I tend to shy away from Mike Evans. He's a great talent. He's awesome all over the field now. If Winston and this new offense, they can use him as a more consistent play, then yes, he's going to be a steal in the draft.
Okay, would you feel more comfortable taking
We're going to get there next week, but I love this. Keep going. Go ahead.
Evans as your wide receiver 1 if you got him in the second round? Because that's his ADP. So I'm saying if you're middle of the first round and you get a running back you get a Zeke or you get a Kamara or you get David Johnson at that 105, we'll say.
Okay.
Come around 10 team in the second round and you got Mike Evans.
Okay, can you give me a comp around him? That's how I love to draft.
Okay, so if you're looking at Mike Evans, you're looking at running back wise, you're looking at probably like Nick Chubb. We'll just say that's the comparable because I'm going to say
let's just take the running back off the table because I'm always going to go running back.
So
Chubb would be my play there.
All right, so you're going to have Keenan Allen, you're going to have Mike Evans, you're going to have Tyreek Hill is going to be sitting there, and I'm trying to think of the other big one that's going to be in that group. Juju is going to be right around that spot.
Oof.
Just saying, we'll just say you take a David Johnson.
Well, I'm not taking Evans over Juju or Hill.
Right.
So it'd be one of those. Would be my.
Okay. I just always ask because to me I wouldn't take Evans over Hill or Juju either. Yeah. Keenan Allen I think Keenan Allen's going to see a lot of red zone, and the reason why I would easily take Allen over Evans would be because there's no Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
Because we've all seen Allen with Melvin Gordon in there and a good tight end, Gates or Henry, is the number 1 red zone wide receiver. So it can only go up.
Well, here you go. So here's the guys I was wondering if you're going to throw in there. So we got Evans.
Okay.
You taking him? T.Y. Hilton.
At this point, yes, I'm taking Evans over Hilton because of the uncertainty with luck.
Edelman. PPR. Yeah. Okay. And then Antonio Brown.
If Antonio Brown's feet is healthy and finds the helmet from the equipment room that apparently works for him, I'm going to take Antonio Brown.
Okay.
But it's not by much.
So I'm still taking Evans over all those guys. And that's me being concerned with Evans.
Okay. See, I just think that the gap is very close between I think Evans over Hilton because of the Andrew Luck situation.
Absolutely.
And Antonio Brown, it's just more so if he can quiet whatever's being told to him between his ears and there's the voice that's telling him to make a drama, make it big to do. It is what it is with him. But regardless of his off-the-field issues, there's one thing you know. When Antonio Brown is on the field, you know you've got a top 3 wide receiver.
Absolutely.
Week to week.
Absolutely.
I mean, people can at me at that and say, oh, well, it's a different offense. Yeah, but I'm telling you right now, Derek Carr is going to look every snap. It's going to be your first read is Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown. And Antonio Brown has still got enough juice in the tank, even at 30 years old, to outrun some of these DBs. So
for me, his concerns are, yes, can he get his feet all figured out? Is he going to use the helmet as a big deal, as an issue while he's playing, if he plays bad? But it will be the offense in general. The offense just doesn't move down the field, doesn't give him that scoring opportunity. That's going to hurt him in at least these top 10 ranking we'll talk about next week. But you're right, though. If everything goes well, even just okay, he's going to be a top 10 guy.
Yeah. All right. I think that's all we got for today's show. We want to tell you guys thanks for joining us, whether it's on the podcast, YouTube, or DATV. You can subscribe on YouTube or subscribe on YouTube or on any of the podcast platforms.
Hit that like button.
Yeah. The site, thehateful8ff.com, apparel, as well as articles will be slowly starting to run back out now that we've got preseason rolling through. And then averagejonation.com for the draft loadout, $10. You can still get it. Your drafts, it'll be active and ready to go until I believe it's Thursday morning, September 5th. So you can literally get it any time between now and then, and it'll still be active and ready to go for your fantasy drafts. So, and then the big thing, you can follow all of us on Twitter. I'm at jpickle, TH8FF. Blackburn is at jblackburn, TH8FF. And Trimboli is at ftrim, TH8FF.
Yeah. And
the podcast handle is at thehateful8ff. So we're active on social media, and you can find us pretty much anytime. You can DM us, or you can just tag us in a post. We'll answer, and we'll answer you guys back pretty quickly. So,
absolutely.
Listener League already. One guy's already active. The previous champion is already struggling. He had McKinnon, who he really thought was going to be potentially ready to go week 1, and then he's got Kenyon Drake. So it's not looking too good.
Already big trades are happening. Right. It's active.
So anything else?
That's all I got.
All right. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.